Hi, I'm Ron James, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Hi, I'm Isabella Verzberger, guest host on Living 365 TV today. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365.
Hi, I'm Priya, host of Living 365 TV. It's time to stop waiting and start living 365. Welcome to Living 365 TV. I'm your host, Priya Ali. This show is designed to bring you real tools and real experts for real people like you who are ready to stop waiting and start living 365. As always, I'd like to thank you all for watching and tuning in, especially those of you from the B3I TV network. We've just hit 120,000 views just from you viewers alone, so thank you for tuning in. Encouraging you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Get on our Facebook page at Living 365 TV. Let us know what you want to hear. If you've got questions for coaching, if you've got some psychic questions that you maybe want me to answer, go ahead, pop them on the page, and I'm going to be starting to do that in our future and upcoming shows. When I started this show, tagline is real experts and real tools for real people like you. I noticed that I originally intended to bring in a lot of coaches, and I had done that in the initial episodes and will continue to do so. When we had the Movember with all the male guest hosts coming on, one of the things I realized is that although they may not be experts as coaches, and they're not all coaches out there, they're definitely experts in living. And as someone who's been a life coach for about 10 years now, I kind of question myself and say, what really makes me a life coach? Yes, there's coaching federations out there that I can belong to and be certified by, but isn't everybody a life coach in their own way? And one of the things I recognized in having the gentleman host the show with me is that there's so many people out there that are not necessarily deemed a life coach, but are so valuable in what they have to offer and their personal experiences, what they can share with you. And so I've brought two such real people with me here today. The first here is Dr. Isabella Verzberger. She's a veterinarian. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And also joining me is Ron James, who is a realtor. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you for having me.
So I really appreciate you guys coming in. Just to let you viewers know, these lovely people that I happen to know them personally as well, but at the 11th hour, actually at the 8 o'clock hour this morning, it's 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time right now, they agreed last minute after we had an unfortunate cancellation to pop in just like that on a moment's notice. So I really want to thank you guys for coming in on such short notice. And I really am so grateful that in my life I have a network with people like yourselves in it that I can reach out to and say, guys, help me out. I need to talk about something today. So thank you for being here. And we've already been having a lot of fun. I should have had a pre-show because what was going on here was a show in itself. But anyways, welcome to the show. One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is transitioning, because we've had a show about change and be the change and we need to have change in our lives. But one of the things I wanted to talk about is how that change is great, but it can also come with some stress. And now I know that you've had some changes in your life in terms of moving locations, in your profession. I know you also professionally, personally have had some changes and transitions in your life. So I'm wondering if you could share some of the challenges you found in making those changes as well as the benefits.
First of all, thank you for having us in the show.
Absolutely.
And it's a pleasure to be here, and it was definitely fun. We need to have a pre-show as well, for sure. Yeah, and changes, they are challenging. But I believe that if a person wants to change something in his life, a person should do it. It's scary, for sure. But if you don't do it, you don't know if you're going to succeed or not. So I'd rather have doing something and maybe fail in it than not doing it at all. Because my failures are my lessons. So it's exciting, it's challenging, and every time when you want to change something, at first you'll have a volcano, for sure, and you might fall in the volcano. But then I'm sure, and then after the volcano, if you work hard and you believe and you'll be determined, you'll rise above the volcano. So I believe that the changes are actually in our life. It's professional or personal. It's changing ourselves as well as human beings. It changes our mentality. It changes our character. So I do think that if we want to be determined and to have a change, I do think we need to do it. And it's scary, but
Like when you came, because you came from
I came originally from Israel.
Israel, right?
Yeah,
So that must have been like huge change.
It's a huge change.
What
Yeah.
was some of the like biggest things you faced when you got here? Did you come directly here?
No, I came from Israel. I actually moved to Prince Edward Island.
Prince Edward Island.
Yes. Prince
She
Edward
lost a
Island.
bet.
Actually, I love the place
no.
because my house was on the ocean. I had a huge house on the ocean.
I love Prince
The
Edward
vet
Island.
college was there. I was working in the vet college. I was doing my PhD there. I got a full scholarship. They paid my salary and a full scholarship to continue my PhD, my residency.
Oh,
So
nice.
I was very fortunate. But to come from a big, Israel is small, yeah, but it's so busy. Like imagine Manhattan. So
Yes.
busy, crazy life from morning till evening, till night. Open, everything is open 24 hours in Tel Aviv. And then you come to PEI. And it's like a scenery from a movie. The first thing, like when I came there, I was shocked. And I came in January. So it was snowing, a lot of snow.
Wow.
Even though it's not that cold like here, but it's still cold enough. For me, it was cold enough when you don't have a lot snow in Israel. We don't have actually snow at all.
Wow.
Only this year a little bit, but can compare to the Canadian snow. So I came and I was supposed to go to the university, and they told me it's closed because of the weather. I'm like, what do you mean closed? There is no such a thing closed. Like the stores are closed, everything is closed. No, it can't be. So I took my colleague and I said, we are going. Like we have to be there. We went there and everything was closed. Everything. It was like a ghost town.
Yeah.
So yeah, it taught me a lesson not to go when there's a storm snow.
Transition lesson number one. When they say the school is closed, it's closed.
It's closed.
It's closed. Closed for a reason. And for those of you who, because we're lucky enough to have global viewers, Prince Edward Island is one of our provinces in Eastern Canada. It's very small. It's very quiet. I remember spending about 7 days there. My cousin got married out there years ago. And it was just so relaxed and so chill. And I came back thinking, why is everybody running around here in Ontario? Like, where are y'all going? It took me a while to ramp back up because it's very laid back, very relaxed, and I think it's a great way of living. But
Yeah, it is, yeah. But it depends on your profession. I work in the hospital in the emergency. It's not very relaxed. It's not very, like you're still going 36 hours straight, right? But yeah, the people were different. Everything was different. So this was a big transition.
Yeah.
So, but they opened their arms to me, and I found a lot of friends, my family. I was living there for 13 years.
Wow.
And then when I finished everything there, and I was obviously working, my kids were born there, and we moved here. I took my kids and said, we're moving to Ontario.
Wow, she doesn't mess around, eh? Tel Aviv,
No, she
Prince
doesn't.
Edward Island, Ontario, Burlington. Where are you in Oakville?
Oakville.
Yeah.
So I live in Oakville. I love Oakville. A lot of trails, and I love the nature.
It's just like PEI.
Yeah. No.
No, it's different. Yeah, and it's the people are nice, and but obviously, like with this transition coming also a professional transition, right? So.
But this all sounds warm and fuzzy. Give me the real dirt. There's got to be some stress that came with it. And not to say that, there's not. I'm just saying, it just sounds too wonderful. Was there no stress in your change?
Of course there is stress. I broke my
Tell
leg
me-
twice.
Give me your
I'm moving,
dirt.
like,
This is what I
moving,
called
with
you
this,
here for.
broken
Isabella,
leg.
give me all your dirt. That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear the warm and fuzzies.
Well, it is. Obviously, you'll have stress, but what kind of stress? Yeah, you cry. Yeah, you cry. You're stressing out. You're sometimes like standing in the middle
Yeah, like
of
do you
the
feel
street and
lonely? You've come from Israel. Like, was there language barriers? Do you feel like there's no you assimilating culturally? What are the stresses that you actually face?
A language barrier, no. Even though sometimes maybe they don't understand me because of the accent. I have no idea, but it's their problem.
You're like, what accent? What are you talking about? You guys have the accent.
Exactly.
It is PEI.
Well, wait to talk to people from Newfoundland.
They're
They're fast.
Yes,
but I
let
love
me tell
them,
you
but
there,
I love
boy.
them.
I know
Living
all about
365
it.
TV. Let's see how many provinces we can insult in one show, right?
No, I love them. My best friends are living there. No insulting here. But no, the stress is not in
It's
the mentality.
BC.
The strength.
We want to pick on BC.
BC. Where are you from originally?
Not BC.
Doing class.
That'll be the first place they legalize dope.
Oh, okay. So that's Europe then.
Just Holland. That's right.
That's what I want to say.
Holland and BC are the twin cities at that point.
Okay. So it's not the mentality or the people that
Gave you
is the-
stress.
Yeah, that gave me stress. It's the change itself.
Yeah.
It's the life that you're doing. So you're coming from a vet degree and working in the hospital, working in the clinic, and then leaving that. And then I went to pharma companies just because I wanted to see what's going on with the medications, what's going on there. I'm curious. I'm a scientist. I'm very curious. So leaving that, closing everything up, and then going to the pharma companies. And the same when I went to do my PhD, working in the clinic, leaving that and doing my PhD. My brother was saying, "Do you want to be a student again? Do you want to be poor? Are you crazy? What's going on? Like, what happened? Who killed you? Like, who threw a brick on their head?" But I wanted to do it because I was curious to do it. So when I finished everything, closed the clinics, and went to the pharma companies, it was interesting for me to work there, to see the corporations, to see how people are actually stabbing each other. This was an experience.
Or actually, did you say?
Stabbing each other in the back.
Stabbing each other in the back, yes.
Stabbing in the back.
There's nothing
That
more
would be my
interesting
segment on real estate.
That's real estate. There we go. And it loops right there, right?
Exactly.
There's the
Like
segue
that's,
right there.
Listen, it makes you strong, right? It makes you strong.
Sure.
Is there backstabbing in real estate?
No. Well, I'm honest here. Yeah.
Yes, there are. That's an industry that eats its young. So if you're that curious as a scientist, maybe you can test them.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because animals, real estate, very close, actually, at that point.
Don't test on animals, though. Don't test on animals.
We have enough
I'd rather
realtors
test on
that
the
we can
realtors.
actually test
okay,
on
no
them.
problem. Test subjects.
Yeah. But you've also you've faced stresses in some of your transitions as well.
I think everybody that gets up every morning and hates their drive to work, etc., is, as much as they're fearful of change, they want to embrace change. But from my personal experience, this is when you're faced with that opportunity to change, it's like hanging on to this very small branch over a cliff. And that little tiny branch is your lifeline. And you're hanging on for all it's worth. And people on the bottom are yelling, "Jump! Jump! Just let go!" And you're like, "You miserable bastards. Like, I'm going to fall to my death." And what they can see that you don't see is you're 2 feet off the ground. So if you let go, you're going to fall 2 feet and you'll land. But when you're hanging on to that branch and you're this close to looking at the edge going, "I'm going to die," figuratively, emotionally, spiritually, whatever, you can't let go. You're paralyzed.
Because you don't know.
Because you don't know. And even that circle of people around you that you know, love, and trust, even when they're yelling jump and you're like, no, they can see what you can't see. And then when you did let go, you're like, oh, well, I should have done that years ago. I should have, made those changes or embraced that change or done something to free myself to have new experience or replacement experiences at that point. The whole nature of real estate is to leave something old, move to something new, regardless of whether it's an old house to another old house or whatever.
True.
So I'm in transition management. However, like anything, physician heal thyself. When you're very versed at helping people make those transitions and making it easy and simple and almost carefree, applying it to your own life as that practitioner, sometimes it just doesn't translate for you. You don't have that same understanding. So that's why seeking things like life coaches, shows like this, where people can kind of plug in and literally have that, how do other people make those changes? How do they make those transitions and do it, in some cases, so graciously? What you don't see is the white knuckling that gets you there in the first place.
Yeah.
I've had my fair share of ones where you're like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to just turn into a puff of smoke. But I didn't. And I'm here. So once the bad part, the shit of it actually starts to kind of go away and you start to look back and you can start to reflect and laugh and kind of wonder, what the hell was I ever worried about with this? That's when you start to kind of really embrace the lesson. As you said, it's not necessarily failure. it's a new experience. It's a new direction, a new way to find out that that way doesn't work.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And it's about taking the chance and taking the risk. You know, you're talking about jump, you know, holding on for dear life. It reminds me of a good friend of mine, Heidi Cowie. You can read the story in her book called Touched by a Whale. She and her husband used to like to sail, and they were out on Lake Ontario, and the boat capsized, and they're in the water and just flailing, panicked and flailing, and they could see people, this is in Burlington, could see people like shouting at them, saying something, and they're just so panicked. And finally, when they kind of just sort of caught it, people were saying, stand up, stand up. And so they stood up, and they were probably in 2 feet of water. But to speak to what you're saying is, they just didn't know, because sometimes when you're in that panic situation of something happening to you, you really just can't see what's around you. You really can't see that you're almost there, or there is safe ground, and that you can just stand up. So I find that it really helps to have people around you that can encourage you through times of transitions as well, to kind of give you that, because when you're in the midst of something, you can't really hear and gauge your surroundings all the time. You can't see outside of yourself to see that you're almost making it through, or how far you've come. And I think having a great network of people around you, or strong people around you that are encouraging, can help you see outside of yourself, rather than just trying to go it alone, for one thing.
Yeah, but that's not always working though, because, right?
Well, I told them, you know what, if there's something I say that you don't agree with, pipe up. And she's like,
No,
I
not
don't believe No, I love it. Bring it.
Not because, yeah, I'm saying it's fantastic to have supporter of people. What I'm saying is it's not always working. It's not that they don't believe in you, or maybe they don't actually.
Yeah, back to the backstabbing.
Yeah, exactly. But no, but I will say, like I said, right, she's crazy, why she's doing that. And the fact that they're so negative sometimes, that's what like maybe can bring you down.
True.
And thinking, okay, this is my group of people that are supporting, friends, family, whoever they are, but are saying, I'm crazy and I'm not going to succeed in it. Because that's what actually they're saying. Because you have something that is very good, you succeed, you make lots of money, and then you're living it, like, what? She's like nuts. Like she belongs to a cuckoo house,
and
you know?
Yeah.
Like literally, like, I'm okay with that.
Well, I know you personally. We both belong in the cuckoo house, just to let you
There's
know
going to be
already.
subtitles on this, right? Yes. What she really said was, and not in the PEI accent.
But it's very true, and I think that comes from when you're getting advice and support from other people, or the lack thereof. It comes from their own fear or their own personality. So a lot of times, because I notice I'm a risk taker. I know you're a risk taker. I know you're a risk taker. You'll find that people who are not, there's nothing wrong with not being a risk taker, but generally people who are not risk takers, they will be the ones that will be like, oh, why are you doing that? Or you better be careful. That's not such a good idea. I mean, God love my mother, but I said this the other day, my daughter had a car accident and she's fine, but my mom was like, well, maybe she should just drive to school and back. In other words, minimize the risk. Like, don't go anywhere, and then you won't have a car accident. So there are a lot of people who are living that way in non-risk environments, but when you're not risking anything, you're not risking anything bad happening, but you're also not risking anything good happening, you know? So I call it what if lane, because I see people that what if in the direction of it going well, and I see most people what ifing in the direction of it not going well. And it's one of those where you get to choose which direction you go, because your energy, your attention, your focus, as you project that, it'll take you forward, and more so give you momentum to go in that direction.
Do you think we've actually somehow created that in building our society, when we actually have everybody wins first prize, everybody gets a ribbon? There is no win-loss. There is no I took a chance and we won. Now it's like, whether we took a chance, whether we didn't take a chance at this point in time, I'm still going to get the little ice cream and the ribbon at the end of the game. Yeah. Right? Because everybody wins.
Yeah.
And I think that we've literally kind of created such a fear of failure. Like in the past, you had that real coin toss. Oh, I might win or I might lose. Here, I always win. So if I fail, how did that happen? Like, I must really suck as a human being or a 10-year-old because we didn't, win the soccer game.
It's true, because we are set up that way. Like look at what a multi-billion-dollar industry sports is. Someone's always going to lose. It's just the way, like someone's always going to lose.
Unless
When
you're a
we
little
have-
kid.
But I think that's what we need to maybe to build a new society, and that's our future generation, right? To teach our kids that the motivation, the strong motivation, the meaning of the game. Yeah, you're going to a game, enjoy, but listen, do your best to win.
Yeah.
Because I find it a lot, and you're right. Like people say, just enjoy the game. Doesn't matter if you're winning or losing. Talking about soccer, my friend on Facebook wrote something very interesting. She's a professional soccer player, and her kids were playing soccer, and now they have something new that they won't give the balls to the kids, so there is no winning or losing. So I'm thinking, no winning or losing, no ball in soccer game. So what kind of a game is
Ball
that?
I think they call that the mall.
That's like,
You just kind of walk around in a big
Ball-less soccer.
circle.
ball is soccer, yeah. My daughter will probably be depressed. My daughter loves soccer. She loves kicking the ball. So that's the whole
What's
fun
the
of the
point?
idea. Exactly.
Come on, it's the Charlie Brown, Lucy. And I
Not
hated her,
yes.
by the way. Hated her. All brunettes.
That's
I'm
it.
kidding.
You are done.
You know, it's interesting. I'm
done.
sorry, the title of the book eludes me, but it's out, it's on the bestseller list, and it's written by Navy SEALs, and it really is talking about the preparedness of all life challenges coming up. I mean, these people die if they make a mistake. That's the ultimate fail. And their first order of how they actually create this is calm. That they have an acronym for it. I apologize, I don't know what. It was a friend of mine that was just telling me about this book, and I have a lot of credibility with this individual. And he basically said they just literally Zen zone. Boom, relax. Because you cannot solve any crisis, any challenge with a brain that's going a mile a minute, that you're in fear.
Yeah, absolutely.
First, center, calm, relax. And then those solutions will start to become much more vivid and actionable, as opposed to hanging on for dear life on that branch,
Yeah.
where it's like, if I let go, I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. Just stand up or just let go. So there are some modalities available to people to kind of learn, just stop, just breathe. And I think we're in a society where we react. And we react negative, and we want everybody to know that we're in pain because we want to gather our tribe. And it's like, they're not going to save you. You need to save you. So having some kind of instruction or the ability to kind of literally put yourself in crisis and test it, because we don't do things like that. We don't do things in our real life to test what we would do in the event of.
Yeah.
So maybe there needs to be some more, reality type, entertainment vehicles of. I went to something where it's one of those situational situations that you go in with a team and they give you this kind of puzzle to solve.
Oh, yes, yes,
And now
yes.
you have to kind of work together, and it can be stressful because it's under time and things aren't working, and then there's the infighting of personalities, etc. But what a great place to start to really realize who you are personally on a journey of how you would react in a crisis situation. And at the back end of it, it was meant to be entertainment. Did you have fun, or are you just going to bitch about somebody that didn't play their role perfect?
Exactly.
Wow, sorry, welcome to real life.
And I think that's the whole thing with taking risk, is that it's about really focusing on the experience. And it is the game that, yes, go out and play your best, but you know what? Somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and that's the way it is, right? And it's not necessarily
Not Nokia.
failure. It's not necessarily failure. And that's a big thing. I really think that we're so focused on failure, and it's such a misinterpretation, or it's projected in such a way that people, like, there is no such thing as failure. Like, it's not acceptable.
Not on Facebook.
No.
Yeah, only my good stuff and my good food.
Right? Exactly. Like, nobody walks around saying, I made a shitty mistake today, or, I totally failed at what I was doing, or very few people. And I try to do this here on the show and share what are my perceived failures. Like, I've been married twice, and I used to say I've had two. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay.
We're not going to keep score on that right now,
we're
because
not counting at this table.
I think I'm going to be up
That's not
there.
important.
You win.
Yeah, thank you. There's Ronn under the bus. Thank you.
But I used to refer to my marriages as I've had 2 failed marriages. And after a while I thought, why am I saying that? It's not, they weren't failed marriages. They were relationships that evolved in different directions and apart from each other or what have you. But there were no failures out of it.
And to your point on that, if we look at what marriage is as a cultural shift for us, it's a 300-year-old practice. People lived 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, at 27 you were old, 40 you were historic. So having, being married at 13 and, still being married when you're 40 and dead, yeah, you could have that longevity. 300 years ago.
Yeah.
To your point about failed marriages is, you mean everything that it was, every day that you were married was crap?
Exactly.
The children that you bore, the experiences that you had, the life lessons you learned, that was all crap? So you could just eliminate that? I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
I think you should kind of go through and sift through and realize how many golden nuggets came from that and still make you who you are today.
Again, there's no growth from not trying, not taking a chance. There's just it's stagnancy. It's great. It's the safety of the comfort zone. So by taking the risk, you allow yourself to move out and grow into something else, be something else, expand yourself, push yourself a little bit further.
I just wish there was a ribbon and ice cream in it. That's the only thing.
Can we find this man a ribbon?
A pink one?
A pink one?
Pink one.
You don't like
Oh, that's, okay, that's a comment, I see. Nice. Under the bus, 2 me. Only guy, 2 women. Just say.
So, in terms of your stress management, though, in moving forward, right? How did you cope? What are some of the things that you did to cope with your changes?
Oh, I was standing in the middle of the street screaming, ah! Yeah, part of it, yes.
Right.
Part of it, yeah.
And this
Sometimes,
is what we
sorry.
want to know
Yeah.
because I think people need to know that we need to express that stress in some capacities, and it needs to be safe. Right now we're having, here in Canada, Bell's having mental health, awareness right now. And mental health, I think that it's one of those, hush, don't talk about it. Depression, people are suffering from different mental disorders, diseases, and all this kind of stuff. And we think it's just fix it. Like, well, just be happy. Just be happy. And
It's
like,
impossible.
It is. When you're going through stress, your body's
it's impossible.
physiology changes.
Yeah.
It's the science
That's
of
right.
it.
But
right?
I think you need to find also things that you like to do. You know me, I love dancing.
Yes,
so,
I do know this about you. I have to share this one because you brought it up. I one evening ended up out, and just by chance, I happened to run into Isabella at a nightclub in Burlington called the Ivy. We'll give you a little plug there. The Ivy in Burlington, great spot.
Fantastic.
And we just happened to bump into each other. And I'd never been out with Isabella. Actually, how we know each other is through our children went to the same school together. So we'd never met in any other capacity. And so we were out there, and I was like, oh, Isabella's here, and she's dancing, and all of a sudden, but Isabella, by the end of the night, her hair was going, and I was like, dang, girl, where did that come from? You were so in your zone, in your element, and having so much fun. It was a pleasure just to watch you.
Yeah.
Not that I wasn't dancing myself, but it was a pleasure to watch you as well. But yes, so you're right.
Exactly. So
Getting
we were
into something
dancing
that you
crazy
like.
together,
Yeah,
right?
so we had fun.
And for me, that's how I have my relief. Like, I love dancing. That's something that I love. I love exercise, but more than that, I love dancing. So if I feel stressed, that's what I do.
You dance.
I dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
They don't allow white guys to dance. That's every wedding.
Okay, you're not dancing with me. That's I
Come
did
on.
the Pink River.
You know I'm resembling everybody you've ever been to a wedding with, I can tell you right now. I have all of those guys' moves right down.
you do?
Yeah, and we dance purposely beside the chicks that are going. Because we look pretty good. At least normal.
That's great. I love your dancing face. That's
Yep,
the best.
it's the best.
Sorry, I'm dancing only Latin dancing.
That's all I can do. Yeah, I can go all Latino. Like that. Looks the same though. It's just the attire.
It's just
He's
Everything's
not going to
silk.
dive with us.
no, okay, yeah.
It's Ben.
Sorry, Isabella says you don't make ivy cut.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll see it on Facebook. I'll meet you there. I'm sure.
What is your stress relief?
Dope.
That's
You know,
why
I'll
he's
tell
in
you.
Europe a
And
lot.
you know what?
Here's
The
a
thing
plug.
is, he's not joking.
Justin, really, we need medical marijuana. We need it approved now. We need to sell it by the beer store. I kid you not. I'll tell you something. On Mental Health Day, it's a perfect opportunity and a segue to do this. As an adult ADHD, I've been on a spectrum of different chemical products at this point that are designed to manage stress and allow us to have, what the world would say, a normal experience. And the challenge is none of the practitioners have ADHD or any mental health issues. They're dispensing this as a product at this point to kind of go, try this, try this. So if they're going to try this, and they're going to give you what our pharma companies purchased results of what it's supposed to do, why not have something that organically is already produced by the body, which is that cannabinoids, et cetera, and having the enhancement. So on the next show, I'm hoping to smoke dope with you on the show, because tune in for that. That'll be funny. Priya higher than a kite. And Isabella dancing with her hair like that. Trust me, it'll hold be a different type of show.
Stop waiting. Start smoking.
That's what that'll be my introduction right there.
God.
Would she be fun? Oh, the scientist as a dope head. That would be
I
awesome.
actually agree.
You did live in PEI. They do grow a lot of things organically.
Organically. I actually agree, though, because, like you said, as a scientist, yeah, I think they should legalize it.
You think so?
And, yeah, not only for as a stress relief, it is curing cancer. It is curing diseases that we can't even think of. And unfortunately, yeah, bureaucracy is a bitch, and pharma companies are even worse. So it's greed, it's money. I don't know what it is, but.
And to all our pharmaceutical sponsors, we're sorry about we don't have any pharmaceutical sponsors.
Well, I mean,
we should come on.
but you can come now.
It's anything. If you have something like that and it's designed to have that, any kind of stress management or modality management so that you can function, when you purchase the report that you absolutely commission to then use as your testimony that your product is safe and supposed to do these various things, how do you know? You don't know. And like I said,
I appreciate your opinions on, and because this is what happens, when we get too far, when we've already gotten to that point and we've got either disease, disharmony in the body, in the being. And from my perspective, I like to go in the preventative. Because you guys you're somebody that is actually experiencing the symptoms and living through it. You're somebody that's helping on different levels to help heal. And from where my side of the spectrum of things is from the preventative side. And so really looking at trying to minimize even what can we do before we get to this stage as well, right? Because if a lot of times, these are ways to help when you have already you've come here, but also looking at what can we do. And I do think that some of the things you're offering as recommendations that you do yourself in moving the body, changing the physiology, just getting because from my perspective, and this is a little different probably for both of you, but from an energetic perspective, the way that we describe things is that things start on a metaphysical level first. So it comes from some disharmony within you already. And it's usually stress. Stress will kill you. It will kill you. It's killing a lot of people because it's stressing the body. When the body gets stressed, it changes the physiology. We may be craving substances, foods that are not as healthy as we could be having. We're not engaging in things that bring our bodies joy, that help to relieve them enough. So it starts to take a toll on the body. So it starts at that metaphysical level, little knocking, and then it starts to get a little bit further because we leave it unattended to. It hits our emotions, and we generally still don't do it. And then it goes a little further, and before you know it, it's like, it's hit your body, now you're sick, right? So really wanting to raise awareness for people as well as, as you're going through these changes and you're taking these risks, prepare yourself. Prepare yourself physically and emotionally so that you're ready, because I have a client who's coming to see me next month for coaching, and she had a start date to quit smoking. And I said to her, I'd like to work with you prior to you quitting to stop smoking, because I'd like to give you some tools that will help you emotionally, because that's what's happening. That's where we turn to some of these things. You're talking about being in the street. Screaming as a stress relief, you might be kidding, I don't know. But personally, and
you know me.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to, reel it in a bit, but yes, I'm sure you were. But I found myself personally, I was a social drinker, but I became either very social or I started drinking more. One of the two. I'm like, either I'm socializing more, but more alcohol is going in.
Oh, so that's the crime ring.
Yeah, that's the bar you see.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
She's loaded out of her
Loaded
mind.
every day. But just things that we turn to for stress relief. And I had to learn, I watched myself kind of getting into a pattern where that was becoming the coping mechanism of choice. And I coach and I teach all these wonderful things in energy, meditation, breathing, all that great stuff that I can do. But sometimes when you're in that space of you're stressed out, you just reach for what works.
Sugar.
Yeah, sometimes it's sugar. Is
Well,
it for you?
most of the time, because alcohol is all sugar.
Yes.
Every one of the food groups that you've just talked about is sugar.
Yeah.
If we start to kind of break it down, sugar is evil. It's the killer.
Sugar.
Sugar. We have the
For
scientists
me,
here.
it's still dancing.
Too much
She's
sugar.
like, I just dance.
That's what it is.
Well, I think everything is in moderation because I still want to be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm conscious. I'm a scientist, right? Like you said, a brunette that you hate. What can I do?
I didn't say hate. I just said they were at fault. It's a big difference.
You're not going to be meeting any brunette women anytime soon, my friend.
That's okay. I think I've up to about here with the fill of brunette women.
Okay, that's a whole nother show. We'll have to have you back. So let's leave our viewers with a tip on, a last minute word that you could give them on managing stress or a piece of advice on transitioning and embracing change.
I think
Taking a risk.
not to be scared, taking the risk. That's the thing. Not to be scared, not to feel that you're falling and it's the end of the life. You can fall, but you can stand up. Yeah, you can be hurt, but put a Band-Aid and you can stand up. Very important, I also think that people have to have something else like they love, like a hobby or something like that to get into it. And everything, of course, is in moderation.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
That's my point of view.
Thank you, Ron.
Isabella stole all mine. I was going to say let go. It's only a 2-foot drop. Everything in moderation. Smoke dope. And having that alternative. But, some, if possible, alone time just to kind of be with your thoughts. So whether you do that, running or meditating, at that point where you literally take all of the stimuli of your real life and you park it, even if it's an hour a day, is huge. It gives you probably closer to 2 hours of dopamine, which is that brain sugar that kind of gives you that euphoria of things will be okay. Mm-hmm. So if you can kind of get that dark room, be away someplace just for an hour, just to kind of recenter, get the compass realigned at that point, I think it can make a big difference in people's lives.
Thank you. Now, Isabella, I know, you're out there, you're networking, you're doing a lot in the community. If people wanted to connect with you further, how could they reach you?
They can reach me through my website and also my telephone number. And I also have a Facebook group that I'm helping with animals. Okay. And it's for free of charge, with everything I can do.
Okay, and your Facebook group is?
Vet on Demand.
Terrific. And website is?
vetinnovation.ca.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah. Thank you so much. And Ron, where can we find you? All the blondes, the brunettes, don't call.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on a second here.
Redheads.
I'm an equal opportunity kind of spoiler. Yeah. RonnJames.ca. Ron has 2 N's, short guy, tall name. So RonnJames.ca, and you can find me there. My contact information is there. And it will lead you to all other different social media at that point. Everybody's entitled to my opinion, but I'd be keen to hear yours.
Yeah, thank you. And I just want to mention, again, these are real people in the community. They may not be coaches, but I do know them both personally. And I think that if you're, beyond being a realtor, beyond helping with animals, there's so much that you two have to offer people through your experiences and that I see you doing in the community. So definitely, if you're open on your social media to connecting with new people, these are 2 people that would be great to know. So contact them and reach out. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
I want to encourage you all to take risks on a regular basis. They can be tiny ones if you need to start that way. But if you don't take risks, you're going to stay stagnant. There is going to be minimal growth in your life, minimal expansion. And I don't know that you're really going to recognize the potential of who you really are, and that's within you. And one of the reasons I started this show was to inspire people to really get out there. That's what this is all about. Stop waiting and start living. Do something. Take one small step today and get out there. There are going to be times where we I'm going to change that word. I don't even know. I don't want to say fail. There are going to be times where it maybe doesn't turn out the way you expected it to. But that's all part of the journey. That's all part of it. If you were going to know where you were just about going to the destination and you skipped everywhere you could journey and see and take in sights and see all the beauty of the world, it would be a really boring life just to keep getting everything that you wanted just like that. So really take the risk and experience the experience. It's part of living. It totally changes your life when you look at life from that perspective of really delving in and looking at what you might perceive as the F word, the fail word, as perceived failure as really just something that enhances your life and enriches you. And you know now, oh, I know what it's like to do that, and I know that I don't want to do that again. So it really just helps you to expand who you are and get clearer. It also gives you clarity when you take risks about what works for you and what doesn't work for you, what takes you closer to the direction you want to go and what doesn't. So as always, I wanted to encourage you to stop waiting and start living 365. We'll see you again. Thank you.